I've been studying my own heart like a crime scene, looking for evidence of why I choose pain over peace, chaos over calm, almost love over actual love. What I found terrifies me. Women don't make random choices in love. We follow psychological patterns so predictable, so systematic, that once you see them, you can't unsee them. 7 patterns that explain every destructive relationship decision I've ever made. Most women cycle through every single one of these patterns. We don't skip steps. We complete the entire psychological sequence until love becomes unrecognizable. The woman who says she can't find love, she's found it. She's just psychologically programmed to destroy it. Secret number 1. Women don't fall in love with men. We fall in love with feelings. You think I chose him because of who he was? Reality. I chose him because of who I became around him. The man who made me feel safe never made me feel alive. The man who made me feel alive never made me feel safe. Guess which one I chose? Week 2 of knowing Marcus. He ignores my "How was your day?" text sent at 3:47 p.m. until 9:52 p.m. while he's out with his college friends at that sports bar on Bleecker Street. My stomach twists in knots for 43 minutes, but I also feel more awake than I have in months. I text my best friend Sarah at 10:15 p.m. I think I'm falling for someone. Month 1 with David. He brings me a medium oat milk latte with an extra shot, exactly how I like it, every Tuesday and Thursday morning. Remembers that I prefer the bookstore on 7th Avenue over the chain stores. Asks about my presentation at work and actually listens to my 20-minute explanation about quarterly projections. I feel cherished. I also feel bored for 37 minutes after each date. I start finding reasons to cut our dinner short by exactly 11 minutes each time. Month 3, day 12 with Marcus. He cancels our dinner reservation at Gemma on Bowery exactly 47 minutes before we're supposed to meet because something urgent came up with his marketing project. I cry in my Honda Civic for 22 minutes in the CVS parking lot. Then spend 2 hours and 14 minutes getting ready in case he changes his mind and wants to see me at 11 p.m. Neuroscience research describes this as emotional intensity bias, confusing activation with attraction, chaos with chemistry. I tell myself I want stability, but my nervous system is addicted to uncertainty. The man who gives me peace makes me feel dead inside. The man who gives me chaos makes me feel desperately alive. I choose the feeling over the man every single time. My chest constricts for 38 minutes every time I realize I'm choosing emotional intensity over emotional safety. And I have to sit in my car in the Target parking lot counting breaths. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. 17 times until I can drive home without my hands shaking. This leads directly into the next psychological trap. Secret number 2. We create elaborate fantasies about men that replace who they actually are. I don't love you for who you are. I love you for who I imagine you could become. The more unavailable you are, the more space I have to fill with fantasy. The more available you are, the more reality interferes with my projections. Month 6, day 23 with Marcus. He's emotionally distant during dinner at Via Carota, checking his iPhone 12 Pro every 3 minutes and scrolling through Instagram while I'm telling him about my promotion interview. Instead of seeing his disrespect, I see mystery. I convince myself he's thinking deep thoughts about his startup idea, processing complex emotions about his ex-girlfriend he's afraid to share with me. Month 8, day 14. He forgets my 27th birthday completely. Not even a text until 11:47 p.m. saying, "Sorry, crazy day." I don't get angry. I create a story about how he's probably planning something special for the weekend, or how he's bad with dates because he's so focused on his important work projects. I bake my own vanilla birthday cake from a Duncan Hines box. and eat 3 slices alone while watching The Office. Month 10, day 6. I find out from his roommate Jake that he's been seeing Melissa from his CrossFit gym for 3 weeks and 2 days. Instead of leaving immediately, I tell myself this proves how passionate and complicated he is, how he's struggling with commitment because he feels things so deeply. I spend 41 minutes writing in my leather journal about how real love isn't supposed to be easy, while Taylor Swift plays on repeat. Cognitive research identifies this as fantasy bonding with unavailable partners, creating emotional connections based on potential rather than reality. I'm not in love with him. I'm in love with the version of him that exists only in my imagination. The less he gives me, the more I can pretend he's capable of giving. The more he shows me who he really is, the less I can maintain my illusions. I need the mystery to survive the disappointment. My hands tremble for 1 hour and 19 minutes after I realize I've been dating my own imagination while calling it love. And I have to hold them under cold water from the kitchen faucet for 6 minutes and 47 seconds to stop the shaking. If you're watching this because someone loves their fantasy of you more than the real you, subscribe now. The next psychological pattern reveals how we weaponize love itself. Which brings me to the most destructive pattern. Secret number 3. We use love as our primary escape mechanism from ourselves. I don't want to be loved. I want to disappear into the feeling of being loved. When someone consumes me completely, I don't have to exist as myself anymore. I can dissolve into their desire for me. Love becomes my way of avoiding the terror of being alone with who I actually am. Year 1, day 47 with Marcus. I lose myself so completely in his attention that I stop writing in my daily journal, stop seeing my friends Emma and Jessica for Sunday brunch, stop doing my Tuesday evening yoga classes at Core Power. When he texts me at random times, 2:14 a.m., 11:37 a.m., 6:23 p.m., my entire identity becomes woman who is wanted by Marcus Thompson. When he doesn't text for 8 hours and 12 minutes, I cease to exist until the next message appears. Year 1, month 6, day 19. I realize I haven't had an original thought in 3 weeks and 4 days. Everything I think is filtered through, what would Marcus think about this new restaurant? Or, how can I share this funny TikTok with Marcus? I've become a satellite orbiting his interest in me, rotating around his attention span. Year 1, month 9, day 11. He goes on a work conference trip to Denver for exactly 5 days and 6 hours. I literally don't know what to do with myself. I spend 63 hours stalking his Instagram, analyzing photos from October 2021 for clues about his relationship with his college girlfriend, Rachel. I order Thai food from the same place 3 nights in a row and eat it in my unmade bed while scrolling through our text conversations from 4 months ago. Clinical research terms this emotional fusion with identity displacement, losing authentic self through over-identification with romantic dynamics. I use his love for me as a substitute for loving myself. His attention becomes my reason for existing. When he wants me, I feel real. When he doesn't, I feel like I'm disappearing. I'm not seeking connection. I'm seeking obliteration. I want love to erase the burden of being me. My throat burns for 49 minutes every time I understand how I've turned love into my personal anesthesia. This escape mechanism creates an even more dangerous pattern. Secret number 4. We confuse trauma bonding with genuine connection. The relationships that hurt me feel more real than the relationships that heal me. Pain creates intensity, and I've been taught to confuse intensity with intimacy. When someone damages me, my nervous system interprets that as evidence that they matter. When someone treats me well, my nervous system interprets that as evidence that they're insignificant. Year 1, month 12, day 8. Marcus and I have our worst fight yet over something completely stupid. Whether I was flirting with Trevor, the bartender, at his friend Mike's 29th birthday party at House of Yes in Brooklyn. We scream at each other from 11:23 p.m. until 1 a.m. about eye contact duration and smile frequency. That night, we have the most passionate makeup experience of our entire relationship. I tell my therapist, Dr. Sarah Chen, the next Thursday that I've never felt more connected to anyone in my 27 years of life. Year 2, month 3, day 16. David tries to enter my life again, calling me at 7:42 p.m. on a Tuesday and offering consistency and genuine care. We have lovely, peaceful dates where we laugh about childhood memories and share meaningful conversations about our fears of aging parents. I feel content but not consumed, satisfied but not obsessed. After exactly 3 weeks and 2 days, I tell him I'm not ready for something serious and call Marcus at 11:58 p.m. Year 2, month 6, day 29. Marcus disappears for 11 days and 7 hours without explanation. No texts, no Instagram activity, no response to my 14 messages. When he finally contacts me at 3:17 a.m. with, "Hey, sorry, been crazy busy," instead of being angry, I'm flooded with relief so intense, I cry for 28 minutes on my bathroom floor. The fact that his absence nearly destroyed me feels like proof of how much he means to me, how deep our connection must be. Neurochemical studies recognize this as intermittent reinforcement creating addictive attachment patterns, interpreting inconsistent treatment as evidence of significance. I don't know the difference between love and adrenaline, between connection and crisis, between intimacy and injury. The relationships that feel calm feel meaningless. The relationships that feel chaotic feel profound. I've confused suffering for depth, instability for passion, damage for devotion. I'm addicted to the biochemical cocktail of stress and relief, and I call it love. I can't sleep for 7 nights straight, and I lie awake from 2:47 a.m. to 6:23 a.m. each morning, understanding that I've been choosing trauma over tenderness my entire adult life, counting ceiling cracks, 47 total, until exhaustion finally takes over. Write me in the comments if you recognize this pattern in your own relationships. Watch my video, The Exact Reason She Put You in the Friend Zone, to understand how self-worth affects partner selection. The psychological pattern I'm about to expose shows our darkest relationship secret. This trauma bonding leads to active sabotage. Secret number 5. We actively destroy healthy love because it threatens our core identity. If I accept love that doesn't hurt, I have to confront the possibility that I deserve better than I've been accepting. And that realization would destroy everything I believe about myself. Healthy love feels wrong not because it's wrong, but because it doesn't match my internal programming about what I'm worth. Year 2, month 9, day 12. I meet Alex at Shakespeare & Company bookstore on East 10th Street at exactly 3:24 p.m. on a rainy Thursday. He's kind, consistent, emotionally available. He texts back within 47 minutes, makes dinner reservations 3 days in advance, remembers that I prefer red wine over white, and asks follow-up questions about my work presentation. For 6 weeks and 2 days, I feel confused. Not excited, not anxious, just confused by the absence of chaos and the presence of predictability. Year 2, month 12, day 4. Alex tells me he cares about me during a walk through Prospect Park while we're watching a golden retriever chase tennis balls. Instead of feeling happy, I feel claustrophobic for 39 minutes. I spend 44 minutes that night Googling how to know if you're settling in a relationship, because healthy love feels like settling when you're addicted to dysfunction, when your nervous system is calibrated for crisis. Year 3, month 2, day 19. I break up with Alex via text at 2:14 p.m. while he's in a Tuesday afternoon meeting, citing lack of chemistry. What I mean is, lack of suffering. I immediately call Marcus, who hasn't spoken to me in 3 weeks and 4 days. When he doesn't answer after 2 rings, I feel that familiar spike of desperate want, and I mistake it for knowing what love should feel like. Social psychology documents this as self-worth regulation through partner selection, choosing treatment that confirms pre-existing beliefs about personal value. I choose men who hurt me because being hurt feels familiar, and familiar feels like home. If I let someone love me correctly, I'd have to admit that everyone who loved me incorrectly chose to do so. And that admission would mean facing how much of my life I've wasted accepting less than I deserved. It's easier to believe I don't deserve better than to face how much time I've lost believing that lie. My entire body shakes for 2 hours and 43 minutes when I realize I've been protecting my wounds instead of healing them. And I have to take a scalding shower at 3 o'clock in the morning and do jumping jacks on my bathroom mat for 9 minutes until the shaking stops and I can feel my fingers again. This self-sabotage serves a hidden purpose. Secret number 6. We use romantic obsession to avoid personal development. When I'm consumed by romantic drama, I don't have to take responsibility for my own life. Obsessing over whether he loves me means I don't have to ask whether I love myself. Analyzing his every word and action means I don't have to examine my own choices and patterns. Love becomes my escape from the terrifying work of becoming a whole person. Year 3, month 6, day 27. I spend 4 hours and 18 minutes analyzing a text Marcus sent at 11:42 a.m. Hey, can't make it tonight. I dissect the punctuation. No period means he's rushing. The timing, sent during his lunch break, means he's been thinking about it. The word choice, casual tone, means he doesn't feel guilty. With my friends Emma and Jessica, like we're decoding the Rosetta Stone. Meanwhile, the graduate school application for Columbia's psychology program has been sitting unopened on my IKEA desk for 3 months and 11 days. Year 3, month 9, day 14. I'm so preoccupied with whether Marcus will commit to me that I don't notice I haven't committed to anything meaningful in my own life. No career goals I'm passionate about pursuing. No personal dreams I'm investing energy in. No growth I'm actively working toward. I spend more mental energy wondering what Marcus ate for breakfast than planning my own future. Year 3, month 12, day 31. I realize that romantic obsession has become my full-time job. I spend more energy trying to figure out what Marcus is thinking than I spend on any actual personal development. I've outsourced my entire sense of purpose to whether someone else chooses me, whether someone else validates my existence, whether someone else makes my life feel meaningful. Developmental research defines this as emotional immaturity with avoidance of authentic self-development. Using romantic preoccupation to avoid personal responsibility and growth. I use love as a distraction from the fact that I don't know who I am when I'm not trying to be loved by someone. Chasing unavailable men gives me something to do with my life that feels important, but doesn't require me to take any real risks with my own potential. If he would just love me back, I wouldn't have to figure out how to love myself. If he would just choose me, I wouldn't have to make any choices about my own life. I'm using romantic drama as a substitute for personal evolution. My stomach churns for 96 minutes when I understand that I've been hiding from my own life in other people's love. And I spend that entire time curled up on my bathroom floor counting the hexagonal tiles. 62 white ones, 18 black ones, until the nausea passes and I can stand up without falling over. All of these psychological patterns culminate in one final revelation. Secret number 7. We don't want the love we claim to want. I say I want commitment, but I choose unavailable men. I say I want stability, but I create chaos. I say I want to be chosen, but I run from anyone who actually chooses me. Because what I really want isn't love. What I want is the familiar pain of not being loved, dressed up as a noble pursuit. I want to feel like I'm fighting for something meaningful without having to face the possibility of actually winning. Year 4, month 3, day 11. Marcus finally tells me he loves me during a particularly intense makeup conversation at 2:47 a.m. after another fight about his female coworkers and my jealousy issues. Instead of feeling victorious, I feel empty for 52 minutes. The chase was more intoxicating than the capture. Within exactly 2 weeks and 3 days, I start finding problems with our relationship that didn't exist before. The way he chews his cereal, how he leaves his gym socks on the hardwood floor, his laugh during Netflix comedies. Year 4, month 6, day 18. I realized that getting what I thought I wanted has made me lose interest completely. The anxiety of not knowing where I stood from 2019 to 2023 was more exciting than the security of knowing he cares in 2024. I begin to understand that I was never actually pursuing love. I was pursuing the feeling of pursuing love, the identity of being the woman who almost gets chosen. Year 4, month 9, day 24. I break up with Marcus for the final time at 4:33 p.m. on a Thursday, not because he doesn't love me, but because he does. His love feels suffocating now that it's real instead of imaginary, available instead of scarce. I tell him we want different things, but what I really mean is, I don't actually know how to receive what I thought I wanted for 4 years and 9 months. Advanced neuroscience reveals this as ambivalent relationship patterns with goal state aversion, unconsciously rejecting desired outcomes due to unfamiliarity with positive attachment experiences. The truth is, I'm more comfortable wanting love than having it. More comfortable with the story of being unloved than the reality of being loved. I've spent so much of my identity on being the woman who can't find love that actually finding it threatens who I think I am. I don't want love. I want the beautiful tragedy of almost love, the romantic narrative of being misunderstood, the dramatic story of loving someone who can't love me back. I want to be the heroine of my own sad love story, not the woman who actually gets her happy ending. My chest feels hollow for 74 minutes when I realize I've been sabotaging my own desires to maintain my familiar identity as someone who doesn't get what she wants. And I have to blast Taylor Swift's All Too Well on repeat and cry into my pillow for exactly 23 minutes until I feel like a real person again, instead of a character in my own tragic romance. These 7 psychological patterns explain everything about how women approach love. These 7 psychological patterns explain everything about how women like me approach love. We choose feelings over people. We love fantasies more than reality. We use romance to escape ourselves. We mistake trauma for connection. We destroy what's healthy because it feels foreign. We avoid growth through romantic obsession. And we sabotage our own desires to maintain familiar identities. The psychology isn't about the men at all. It's about our relationship with ourselves, our addiction to chaos, our terror of peace. Some women aren't seeking love. We're seeking the beautiful tragedy of almost having love. Here's what I'm learning. The love I think I want isn't the love I'm psychologically prepared to receive. And admitting that means facing everything I've been running from. The psychology of women and love reveals that most of us are running elaborate cons on ourselves, calling our dysfunction passion and our trauma depth. Do I understand these patterns now? Yes. Do I know how to choose differently? That terrifies me more than staying the same. Can someone love us out of these patterns? That's the question I'm afraid to answer honestly. If you recognize these psychological patterns in someone you care about, then maybe they're not choosing poorly on purpose. Maybe they're trapped in a psychological system they don't understand. And maybe knowing these patterns exist is the first step towards something different. But what comes after knowing? How do you rewire psychology that feels like identity? How do you want what's good for you when you've been trained to want what destroys you? Those might be questions without easy answers. If you want to understand more about these destructive relationship patterns, watch my video. Here's why a woman pushes you away when she wants you most. That video reveals how these psychological patterns play out in real relationships.